thought, you know what? Now is the time to give it a go. And if you don't back yourself, then no one else is going to back you. So let's go with it. Having a reputation for being people that fix stuff, that get things done, I think is quite important. Hello and welcome to Being Crisis Prepared, the business continuity podcast from Enveroy Crisis Management. I'm David Payne and I'm a Senior Consultant with Enveroy, and in a slight role reversal, tonight I'm joined by Matthew Wardner, Managing Director for Enveroy. Good evening, Matthew.
Good evening, David.
Thanks very much for joining us. And the reason for the role reversal is that we are celebrating a milestone for Enveroy at the moment, and that is the 9th anniversary, which I believe falls on the 20th of March. Am I right?
That's correct. Yeah, 20th of March.
Brilliant. So we thought that the reason for doing this slight role reversal is because it might be quite interesting to be able to ask you a couple of questions about what it was that made you get Enveroy going and see what we can learn, just a little bit about the journey. So if that's all right with you, I'm just going to fire a few questions and we'll...
Sure, yeah, delighted.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, we might as well start at the very beginning. I know this may not necessarily be the beginning for you, but the beginning for Enveroy. So I was just wondering, what was it that actually made you start the company up in the first place those 9 years ago?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because on the one hand, yes, I'd chosen when I left the armed forces after 27 years in the army, was in Aberdeen and got into emergency response crisis management in the oil and gas industry. And after a couple of years of working for a company that did that to many clients, secured a job with a company as their crisis manager. And after 6 months, practice changed, as they often do, and they didn't want to keep me on full time, but they wanted still to use me when they needed me. So they asked me, could I set up as a consultant so that they could then be my first client? So I did, which perhaps many people would look at it and go, sorry, you what? One client, and you thought that was a good idea, that they might give you some work. But I think sometimes you've just got to trust your instincts. And I didn't want to go and work for another company and be at the beck and call of someone else. I just completed an MBA distance learning at Robert Gordon University. And I thought, you know what? Now is the time to give it a go. And if you don't back yourself, then no one else is going to back you. So let's go with it.
The combined experience that you'd had from the army and then the experience that you gained from working for somebody else, plus your MBA, probably all lent itself nicely to this line of work.
Yeah, and I must say I was very fortunate. In the first company I joined when I left the army, there was a managing director there, a chap called Jim Walker, who had built and sold a business and then built and sold a second business. And he would be the first to admit that he's not everyone's cup of tea, but gosh, he was a good businessman. And to be able to see him do it and go, do you know what, actually, I fancy a go at that. It's quite nice to have the luxury to do it. And obviously, at 49, with an armed forces pension and a very understanding wife, she backed me and we went for it.
Yeah, brilliant. So you said you wanted to just have a go for it and take a punt. If you look back at that time now, what lessons would you take from those early days? But would you do it again?
Yeah, and first of all, I must say that there was a bit more planning to it than just taking a plate.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Ultimately, sure.
That's what it was. And I think there are a few lessons that I now realise more than I did then. Firstly, cash is everything. And if you haven't got cash, you don't have a business. And you therefore need to be very careful who you take good ideas from. You're being alive to the good ideas club. Oh, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. And suddenly you've frustrated lots of cash and you haven't actually moved the business forward. So that sort of timing it at the right time to get what you need. And there's a good book, Lean Startup, that if that's whether you read the book or whether you just listen to the headline, you've got to be lean because otherwise you run out of cash and you're still worrying about your logo. Well, is your logo going to sell your stuff? If it is, invest in it. If it's not, move on.
I think there's quite a big statistic, isn't there, that the lack of cash is what sinks quite a high number.
Yeah, you don't have to be Steve Jobs or someone to understand that You haven't got any cash, you haven't got a business. It really isn't rocket science. And obviously COVID taught that to lots of companies.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think the second lesson is hire carefully. And that idea of, you probably know what skills you've got and you probably know what you like doing, and therefore hire someone that isn't a mirror image of you, but can fill those gaps. So you're not both doing the things that you enjoy, but one of you is doing the things that you enjoy and are good at, and one of them is doing the things that you don't enjoy or aren't good at. I'm hugely proud, and we might come on to it, of our success with bringing on military veterans and providing that opportunity to gain experience and grow and expand. But quite a lot of military veterans do come with the same barrier, which on the one hand is very nice. It means that we're all able to have a laugh and a joke at each other. But within the military, we do have Army, Air Force, Royal Marine, Royal Navy, spouses, sons and daughters. So we are quite diverse, but still with a common theme. So but that idea of hire carefully. And I think final one would be build strong relationships. And I don't mean in the team, I mean with your clients, because one of our team who worked with us for a couple of years, Jay Johnson, commented, people buy from people. And so that it doesn't matter whether they buy today or whether they might buy in the future. We had a client that it took us 4 years from the first conversation to the first purchase order.
Wow.
Another client that has just this week come back to us, having us last done some work with them 6 years ago. They've now circled around that sort of their evolution and come back and said, it was someone who didn't really know us, but he said, I've got a report that you did. I've got your business card from 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Can we have a chat and can we see where that goes? So that having a reputation for being people that fix stuff, that get things done, I think is quite important.
Yeah, and I think that the sort of the business that we're in, we're not in the one where you add something to your checkout or your cars and you go and you buy it and by just adding your credit card in there. It's not that kind of thing. It's very much a case of how it spreads, as you say, reputational.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of conversations through our marketing effort of the importance of a website. Well, for us, that's not how we sell. We sell through reputation. Yeah, people use our website to confirm that we're legit and they like the look and feel of it, perhaps. But they're far more likely to say to one of their people they meet at a conference or people they've worked with before or their peer group, does anyone know someone that is good at X? And you want to be on that list. And that's, reputation is key.
Hopefully we are on that list. In fact, I know we're on that list.
We're getting there. Yeah, definitely getting there.
Looking back then, again, we'll do some looking forward in a minute, but still looking back, what would you say are particular highlights? What are you most proud of?
Yeah, I think that's almost two separate questions, but most proud of, I think, the team that we built and the fact that by and large, people like working for Adroit. And we don't pay the best. We don't pay rock star wages. We pay good wages, but it's not the salary that makes the difference. And I said to someone in recruitment the other day, that if we're close to someone, a competitor's salary, I think people will look at us because they like the look and the feel and the banter and almost the family atmosphere that's in the team, rather than you're going to work. You are going to work, and it's work, not play, but it may hopefully be alleviated a little bit by it's okay. And so I'm quite proud of that culture that we've generated, that you do the very best job you can, but you do it with a smile and you do it with good heart, that we are doing good for our clients by helping them to save and protect their businesses, be ready to be able to respond and recover to disruptive events. Why would you not want to be involved in that? That seems obvious to me. So I'm quite proud of that team, of the diverse nature of the team, of age, of gender, background is fantastic. I'm quite proud of the fact that through COVID, not one of our team were put on furlough. Everyone was fully utilised through COVID, which is again testament to their hard work to go and find work, and also to plan ahead and do business development and develop courses and all those things that we did, as well as the Friday quiz and so on. That was nice. I guess third on that list is that we've built the company with never having any debt. We've never been overdrawn. We haven't had a loan. We haven't used extensively credit cards. It's all been, we've earned money, we've invested money, we've earned money, we've invested money. Mm-hmm. And yes, an entrepreneurial professor might say, oh, no, you need to get in there quick and disrupt the market. And then that's lovely. But actually, that requires deep pockets to have a backer that's going to give you the marketing collateral to invest and go. Well, we haven't done that. We've gone through, we made a profit this month. Okay, what can we do to invest to grow and turn 10,000 profit this month into 11,000 profit next month, and try and do it that way.
I imagine that's quite a rare position to be in. Most business owners, I thought, would certainly have massive startup loans, and they'd be servicing debt for a long time, which adds an element of risk. Worry.
I think a lot of startup entrepreneurs are in the younger and don't have the luxury of having been in work solidly since the age of 18, don't have the luxury of a hard-working wife that earns sufficiently to be able to make sure that we'll always have beans on toast. Now, if I make a success, we have some cheese. Cheese had beans on it, yes. So, and I know that's a phrase you've heard me use before, but there were days at the start that I didn't get paid. Members of the company got paid, and if there was anything left, then and so that's not for everybody, and therefore, yes, some people need the bank of mum and dad. Some people need friends to be able to set them up. Some people need to be able to second mortgage on a house or free up some collateral by taking out a larger mortgage. But if you're doing that, you really have to back yourself, because that's real cash that you're using. And don't get me wrong, we were using real cash, but it wasn't life critical cash. So that wasn't a nice place to be, I guess.
So we've done some of the high points, and in fact, we'll come on to proper notable high points in a minute. But just before we do that, what about challenges? There's bound to be some as you set up a business. What would you say would be your biggest challenges as you've gone through this journey?
Well, I think, as I intimated at the start, saying that the company I was with, factors aligned, which meant that they couldn't continue or in their business model, therefore they let me go. Well, that was all around the oil price collapse of about 2014, 2015, where, if people remember, but we went from $120 a barrel in about 2011 or so, 2012, down to a negative figure, giving barrels away because they couldn't take it in the refinery. Setting up a business that was providing emergency response, crisis management advice to the oil industry was probably not great timing. So we had diversified. We diversified very quickly then into academia, property development company, supported charities, Edinburgh Dog and Cats Home, who supported Scottish Parliament, anything that has risk that therefore might need an emergency response plan or a crisis management plan. And let's face it, most companies should have a business continuity plan. So I remember early days we supported a vet's practice in Dunfermline, and they thought that their most important bit was the care of the animals. And that might be their most important bit, but it wasn't the bit that generated the cash. The bit that generated cash was the sales through the pharmacy, the tablets that go with poor Moggy that needs whatever. And so they realised very quickly that they needed to set up a porter cabin or something that meant that they could still dispense the repeat prescriptions for those animals, because that's what generated the cash that enabled them then to recover the capability to do surgery on people's pets and so on. So quite a diverse client base. It's exciting though, isn't it? Because it means you're not stuck in the same sector all the time. Absolutely. I know, absolutely, from being a consultant as well, would you say? Yeah, we every time we go and support a client, you learn so much about what they do. And whether that be the AQA exam board that we've supported, and understanding how exams are put together and how the scripts, when they're finished, get sent off, and how important it is that works, through to the Edinburgh Dog and Cat Home that we supported. And people say, sorry, dog and cat home? Well, if there's a fire in a dog and cat home, those dogs and cats need looking after immediately. And if you've got 70 dogs and cats at a dog and cat home, where are you going to find 70 kennels for now distressed dogs and cats? So, it's part of it is that, never thought of it through that lens, and it makes complete sense. So what are the answers? Well, that's probably a different podcast altogether. But that was a challenge of what to do when you're key market takes a downturn, and I guess COVID is in a similar idea that the world's key markets took a downturn, and so we developed some courses, and we did lots of courses to get round that period. And people say to us, "Oh, well, that must have been great for your business, COVID," because everyone realised, no, everyone now thinks that they've survived COVID, they can survive anything, not realising that actually the whole world was going through that, and they had government funding, and yes, it's not really the same as you're going through disruption, and all your competitors are now eyeing you up as a potential target, and they're going to come in and steal your clients and steal your marketplace while you're trying to sort out your IT system from a cyber attack, or flooded basement or warehouse on fire, or whatever it might be, that's caused that disruption. So yeah, COVID and HR is probably a challenge.
But okay, so I'm going to have to probe a little bit more deeply into that one. You mentioned about you were proud about your staff and things. So what's in particular with HR?
I think I've had to realise that just because I'm enthusiastic every day, I try to be enthusiastic every day. That's right, you are. Some of the team might argue. Clearly it's my business, so of course I'm going to be thinking about it at weekends and up in the evenings doing stuff to get things done. But everybody else has a life, and they're not driven necessarily in that same way, and that's fine. But waking up to that fact and not worrying about, is so-and-so doing this, or is so-and-so... No. Here we employ very, very capable people, and letting them get on with it and trusting them to get on with it, I think is a huge strength. We have a leave policy, but for 8 years we didn't have a leave tracker. I could not care less how much leave people take, provided they get the job done. And therefore we didn't have a leave tracker until someone came and said, "Oh, actually, could we have a leave tracker? Because I don't know how much leave I've got left."
So yeah, I know what you're going to say about what you found, that people weren't taking the leave.
Yeah, you had to encourage them. Because we've got a good team, instead of the leave that they were entitled to and taking it, or going beyond that, actually they were working longer hours. And so instead of worrying about not everyone works by guide, no, actually, if you let people get on with it, they will go well above and beyond what you normally would expect at what the military call mission command, and let them get on with it. And one or two occasions, people surprise you with their approach. But when people come and ask you, is it okay if I take time off because I've got to go to the dentist? Of course it is, because I know that you know what the work is and you'll get it done, and that's fine.
People won't do that unless they're happy in their job. So if they're not happy in their job, then they'll take every second of leave that they possibly can, and possibly try and get away with some more.
But I think getting past the fact that we don't have a process, we don't have a policy that we enforce, it's been a bit of a challenge to either for me or for the team to accept that that's okay. And that we're big boys and girls. And it's okay when you're a small team. As we've grown and we're now at sort of 20 in the team, there will come a point that it does all need to be written down. And we do now have a staff handbook, and we do have policies for everything.
That's sort of just a requirement of business these days.
I think it is, yeah. So that's what I mean by a challenge, is going from it's a few mates that met over a coffee and sort of get on with each other and have a similar outlook, to transitioning to, okay, now we've got to worry about leave entitlements or pension retirements and all that sort of stuff, all that comes with it.
Standing business.
That when you start, you do it all, and then you reach a point that you go, do you know what, I can't do it all anymore. I need to let go and develop process for it.
Yeah. Okay, so business downturn and HR were challenges. But now let's go back to the positives. What about high points? There's got to be some.
Yeah, there's way, way, way more high points than the challenges, that's for sure. And this may sound slightly sad, but every time we go from winning a tender for a new client through to a testimonial from that client, for glowing testimonial for a quality piece of work, I love that. And that is hugely satisfying. And it's not my work that I'm pleased with. I've been anyone in the team that has done that, and in particular someone who perhaps it's the first time they've done it on their own, and they've been nurtured to that point, whether that be because they've joined us from leaving the military and it's a second career and they're going, oh, okay, I was an X, you insert rank for X person in the armed forces. Yeah, congratulations, you were. Now you're not. Let's use those skills and achieve something great. Or whether you're a new graduate and you're starting out, I just think I love it.
Yeah. You turned me from a fighter controller into continuity.
Yeah, to be fair, that's still a work in progress. And I think there are high points. We started with crisis management and business continuity is what we did because that's what I did. And since then, we've developed Embroid Digital, our digital platform. And anyone that knows me will know that's not my forte. Digital platform, software as a service, or business continuity as a service, sort of on a platform is an interesting development. One of our colleagues, Stu Wallace, building the security offer, the physical security offer that we now have had very successfully for the last 18 months, is a great high point. I think our achieving the Ministry of Defence Employee Recognition Scheme Gold Award 18 months ago was a high point.
I think on that as a real high point.
Yeah, just a formal acknowledgement that we're doing good is great, but also perhaps the reverse or the flip side of the same coin. We give 3% of our profits to charities, and therefore, occasionally those charities come back to us and say thank you, and whether they do or whether they don't, it's nice, and we know that we're making a difference with some of the charities that we have supported.
Do you have any particular charities that you would want to be proud of supporting? Are they military charities?
Yeah, there's a range, perhaps 50-50 between military and non-military. So yes, there is Erskine Hospital, for example, was one of ours, but equally so was Scottish Mountain Rescue. A lot of our team like hill walking, and therefore they're entirely volunteers. How fantastic that we can give them a donation and support them.
I remember very kindly planted trees at my daughter's when she was in primary school. Planted fruit trees and built a sensory garden at the local school, which was very kind.
So we do try and do a mix as well of donations to environmental causes. So we supported Scottish Wildlife Trust with the donation, as well as there's another primary school in Lucas, the military base that had a donation as well. And so none of them are huge sums, but it is 3% profit. So as we make more profit, we can donate more. And I think now after 9 years, this 9th year, there are at least 10 different charities, from Edinburgh Dog and Cats Home to primary schools to, we've also introduced the idea that we match fund the donations received by a person doing a charity walk, a charity sponsored silence. If they raise £100, then we will match fund it with £100. So the Embroid team can have that extra boost to anything that they particularly support. So it sort of works, and it is a high point that we can do some good rather than just earn a living.
And it's nice to be in a position where you can do that.
And choose who we give it to as well, rather than some corporate entity that we don't really know decides that it's going to be X. Well, actually, we know, and we decide the charity at a team day. Everyone gets a vote, and away we go, which is great.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So we've done the past, we've looked back, we've looked at high points, we've looked at challenges and things like that. Let's look forward a little bit and say, what about the future? Where would you like to see Inveroy going?
Yeah, I think there's probably two requirements for the future. One is to cement what we've established in place, and so that our foundations, if you like, of what we're doing now are there, and that we continue to grow the team, we continue to expand our capabilities and the knowledge that the team has, and we continue to delight our clients. That's the continue bit, which sounds very boring, but is very important when you're a business, that you don't turn your back on something and assuming, it's just because it was there yesterday, it's going to be there tomorrow, because guess what? It won't be. And then the other side of that is we, as I just said, developed a couple of new work streams over the years. And the next one, I think, in the next 12 months to look at is risk management.
Okay.
Which is another part of the sort of resilience family, if you like.
Right.
So resilience being a capability. Well, what are the disciplines within that make you resilient?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, emergency response, crisis management, business continuity, physical security, cyber security, etc. They're all disciplines that ensure you are resilient. And another one would be risk management, enterprise risk management. So you properly analyze what the risks are against which you're then preparing for your emergency response and your recovery activities.
So an end-to-end capability then, really.
That's what we're aiming for, is in risk management terms, they talk about a bow tie and the two halves of the bow tie, left-hand side and the right-hand side. Yeah, and we've predominantly been on the right-hand side of responding after an event has occurred. Well, we perhaps need to be more on the left-hand side as well. Yes, we help people develop their plans, but against what criteria are you developing that plan? What are those key threats to your business? And if you are a business, yes, you can invest in 10 different risks. Okay, which risks do you choose? Why do you choose them? How do you grade them? Is perhaps an opportunity in the next 12 months that we need to get more involved with. So we'll see. We have some plans. Challenge is finding the headspace to be able to roll them out in a way that it's going to stick, because it takes time, it takes money, it takes finding the right skilled people that can lead that, because I understand it, but I'm probably not the right person to do that. So, who is the right person that is absolutely credible, is hungry to grow a new arm in a business, and if we can find that, then we're in a good place.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else for that one, or anything else you wanted to say?
No. I think we're excited of getting to our 10th anniversary. Well, clearly that is going to be a big event. We hope that there will be a suitable Inveroy party to mark that. It was great this year. We had our first ever Christmas staff dinner,
which was very good.
Together. And again, perhaps that's another mark of a milestone in the sand that we've got sufficient in the bank that we can afford to do that. Well, wouldn't it be nice to have a full team gathering and maybe one or two of the former colleagues to join us as well, and raise a glass or two to.
That'd be nice
to
our 10th anniversary. So
it's now within touching distance, and lots of people argue about the stats of how many businesses get to their 10th. Well, yeah, I think. So that's me touching wood. I think we're in a good place to do that, and we should be able to do it in good heart as well. So
I think in everything you said, that all the indicators are looking very positive. So, well, thank you very much indeed for your honesty and your candor, and congratulations to you and to Inveroy for reaching your 9th anniversary. I'll look forward to hopefully being part of the 10th anniversary celebrations when we come. Just to say to all our listeners here, thank you very much for listening. If you have any comments, and if you also would like to say congratulations to Matthew, then please do leave a comment below. But otherwise, we'll bid you farewell and say thank you very much, Matthew, again, and we'll look forward to seeing you in our next podcast.
Thanks, David. Thank you.